there's a scene I think that encapsulates for me why the story in 14 and why the story in Persona 5 like are so good, right? And why people connect with it so much, and why people have these intense emotional reactions to fictional characters. Sorry if that offends you. Like Rurikhan seemed like he was ready to kill me when I said like these fictional characters were crying over saying goodbye to them and like losing our minds. He's like, what do you mean they're fictional? They're
no, they're real.
They're my friends. What are you talking about? But I think my theory on it, if I could boil it all down to one scene in both games, it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's the late night dinner party in Endwalker, and it's the like ramen like hot pot cookover meal in Persona 5, right? Those two scenes, I think in a lot of Western stories would just be like, oh, like this just happens, right? Like, you know, forget that. People just want to see the action. They just want to see the big dragon flying over. They just want to see, you know, your party doing awesome, cool attacks and this and that. But both games take their time to make you feel like you are truly friends with these people and give you those lighter moments. You know, like Alize pulling off the pickles off the hamburger and Graha talking about how he's too short to reach things. And, you know, in Persona 5, they're talking about all kinds of different things. I forget. Like Morgana said something about Lady Ann, and you pissed off Morgana because like he's in love with Ann. But you know, like you get to know Yusuke and other people just so much more in that game than you would in, you know, kind of Western games. And I think if I could boil it down to you know, what makes these games special is that comes from a real human place, you know?
Yeah.
That is a real human interaction that people have, and that it makes you feel like you have actually experienced something alongside these fictional characters, like you were friends.
Yeah, it's very immersive because it's very relatable. And it's just having those, like you said, those very real moments with your friends, like those little character quirks, because I really feel like most games try to focus so much on the action to keep attention, but like the little tiny details of just hanging out with your friends in the game is some of the most, like, just the character building, really focusing on those little things that you can connect to and having those character quirks. I don't know, there's just not enough of that anymore, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, if I think about the story in Warcraft, like while I was there, I mean, I love the Warcraft universe, but as I've kind of peeled back and like looked at the Warcraft universe and the World of Warcraft story from a, you know, refugee's perspective, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Every time I look at it now, all I see is like Michael Bay, right? Like the Michael Bay Transformers, like explosions, like big things. And then when they try to do nuance, they don't really do a good job at like the nuancy type of moments. And, you know, so much of 14 is just built on that nuance and built on that emotion. And as I said once, like, because I'm a seasoned gentleman and I've been through some crap. And Rurikan's like, that's just you just saying we're old. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It seems like the writing, Ishikawa, Yoshi P, Koji Fox, whoever's doing the writing on that, those emotions are coming from, it almost feels like real experiences, like the ways in which they write the dialogue, like the goodbye to the first, and the way in which they talk in that moment. It just feels, it's hard to explain. When you unless you've gone through something like that in the real world, you'd never be able to write something like that to encapsulate that moment as perfectly.
Yeah, you're very right about that. It's way too nuanced for it not to be a real thing.
And I think we
every tiny emotion.
And I think we saw a little bit of that with the Soken bit. Have you ever watched that? I take it you have, after based on that reaction.
Exactly what you're talking about.
So I mean, that bit of passion just oozes through everything that he does and into his music.
I just love that you feel every bit of Soken's music, every piece. You just feel everything that he put into it. Ugh. I've listened to Closing in the Distance on repeat and Flow like every day this week. I just keep listening to these songs.
Well, they take you on a journey, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So,
Too much of a journey.
hey, thanks for listening to this clip from the Popoto Pub Final Fantasy XIV podcast. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. Lolly ho, and peace out, friend.